And making a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the temple, with the sheep and oxen, and he poured out the coins of the money changers, and overturned their tables. And he told those who sold the pigeons, "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of trade." Bible, John chapter 2, verses 13 to 16. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Shalom, Hotep, Assalamu Allah. Peace to the black gods and goddesses all over the planet Earth. I'm your brother in the struggle, brother ministeralif Allah. And today, family, I want to share with y'all some of that supreme wisdom from How to Eat to Live, book number 2. This was published back in 1972. And today, instead of looking at the physical food, we're going to look at some mental food. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad pointed out to us in our lessons that the 10% are the rich, the slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies. There were some FOIs and MGTs that the messenger addressed in Muhammad Speaks newspaper that was titled "It's a Lie." And he basically had his personal secretary come out on stage and he addressed the believers. And he explained to the believers that there were believers that were lying when they were teaching the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he had the secretary actually get on the days on the rostrum and say over the microphone some of the technology or spooky stuff that they was teaching back then. Inshallah, Sakeem, we're going to dig up that old Muhammad Speaks. I got it around here somewhere, and we're going to echo some of that for you. You'll see it on our website. You could go to noireport.online to get the life-giving teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad. The messenger basically explained that they was teaching like all types of pseudosciences, basically. You know what I mean? And, Master Fard Muhammad taught him about those that peep and mutter when it comes to this divine truth, playing games with it. You know what I mean? They want to teach the teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad without giving credit to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know what I mean? And by proxy to Allah, God, who came to person of Master Fard Muhammad. I just met someone that I personally don't know. Seemed pretty sincere, a white guy, and he basically, we was just joking around. He was basically telling me he wanted me to buy some fast food, and I was like, oh, now I gotta watch what I eat. You know what I mean? It's like I'm 59 now. I can't be, this stuff get me fat. I can't, just eat anything. I gotta practice how to eat to live. And he told me, he's like, have you ever heard of intermittent fasting? And I was like, yeah, I've been hearing a lot about intermittent fasting recently, I mean, especially on social media. I was like, as a student founder of Elijah Muhammad, for over, since the 1930s, Master Muhammad the Messenger was teaching us basically how to eat to live. Eat one meal a day, eat one meal every other day, once every 3 days if you can. I mean, as long as you don't hurt yourself, But he explained to me that he was actually overweight, and he showed me a picture on his phone when he was real big and he lost the weight. He said he's now down to one meal every 48 hours. And I was like, man, that's basically, straight out of How to Eat to Live, book 1, 1967, How to Eat to Live, book 2, 1972. He said, I never heard of that, but I did hear of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but I never heard of his nutrition teachings. I was like, yeah, he teaches fasting and how to eat to live. You know what I mean? So he's like, you're going to go online and check out some of that, but, you got best-selling books now that teach like that. In fact, let me see if I can find this book. Let me check this library shelf real quick. Hold on. Okay, so In 1967, the messenger taught us how to eat to live. Ignored by the mainstream. Now, I mean, to this day on YouTube, he don't get a bunch of views and likes and nothing like that there. Then in 1972, he gave us How to Eat to Live, Book 2. Going into the same supreme wisdom taught to him by Allah, God, King, and person, Master Muhammad. Again, never a New York bestseller, nothing like that there. It didn't go mainstream. However, a white man wrote a book. His book was not called How to Eat to Live, Book 1, nor was it called How to Eat to Live, Book 2. But he did write a book that became a bestseller, and on the cover was praised by Dr. Oz himself. What was the supreme wisdom? They called it, quote, a medical breakthrough. They found something that they considered, quote, the revolutionary formula. Now, this is some deep stuff. Remember, the message taught us how to eat to live. Book 1, How to Eat to Live, Book 2. What did Dr. Oz and Joe Furman, the medical doctor, come up with? They came out with a medical breakthrough book called Eat to Live. What? Not How to Eat to Live, Book 2. Not How to Eat to Live, Book 1 in 1967. 2003, 35 years later. And I've read this. I mean, good book. I appreciate from them being doctors, they, definitely know more of the science, but you could tell they got it from this foundation, How to Eat to Live. And they came up with Eat to Live. How to Eat to Live for black folks, Eat to Live for the mainstream white folks, the masses. I respect that hustle. Don't hate the players, hate the game. But the point is, the messenger in How to Eat to Live, book number 2, understood that people would take his teachings and commercialize on it like that. Now, I mean, this is why, symbolic, we see the Jesus in the Bible, he had to run the money changers out of the temple. Now, I mean, because, they literally, in this day and time, you got super churches, you have mega masjids and mosques and temples and synagogues, you know what I mean? And it's literally like a marketplace. I mean, like they sell jewelry, books, food, hats, scarves, dolls, what have you. Now, I mean, so the messenger, he wanted to give us the messenger's message to guide us through this age of mess by teaching us this regarding his teachings. He says, and this is page number 74 of How to Eat to Live, technically 74 and parts of page 75 of How to Eat to Live, book number 2, 1972. Let me just read real briefly what he said, word for word, real quick. How to Eat to Live. There are many of my little black brothers who are hungry for offers and for leadership, and they commercialize on what you find me writing. They take my writings, Eat to Live, not How to Eat to Live, just Eat to Live. They made millions off this. The nation ain't get a penny of that money. All right? Repeat. How to Eat to Live. There are many of my little black brothers who are hungry for offers and for leadership, and they commercialize on what you find me writing. They take my writings and put it into other aspects and add in and out of it and offer it up for a sell price because he does not want to do something for self. He wants to take everything that he can and commercialize on it. He is a thief and a robber under the disguise of putting out the teachings of the messenger. You know my way of putting the teachings out. If I charge for some literature, It is because I want to get back what we put into it and put the profit to work to build a nation. But you are selfish, and this is why I do not give you any credit. Take this that I give to the people directly and do not add to it and try and make money. Allah God has already promised you money, but do not try to make money out of his word. There are people now who are trying to put some of their work, copy from my work, and with their own no good additions to it. Leave my teachings as it is. Let me read that again, family. Leave my teachings as it is. No wonder the Jesus had to run the money changers out of the synagogue. They who were turning it into a marketplace to sell their produces of this and that. You are doing the same. You want to give little parties and dinners to commercialize on your place of teachings. Y'all know them fish fries and them chicken fries be happening. They do not do that in their holy land. They do not take their prayer house and turn it into a market. So here the messenger explained to us, leave my teachings as it is. He explained to us, he understood that it takes money to make money. It's a capitalist system. He explained that, he said, if I charge for some literature, it is because I want to get back what we put into it and put the profit to work to build a nation. Ain't no mystery God paying the bills. Master Muhammad had to pay the electric bills. I mean, to the temple, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, yo, y'all got to come up with some money to pay these bills. But, you know, that's different from the 10% or the rich or the officials having all this money, fancy cars, and you know what I mean? And the believers are broke, and they asking the believers for their nickels, dimes, and dollars. I mean, you know, I heard some brothers and sisters, they going for straight from the door for $100. Now, I mean, they be like, who give up a $100 donation? Now, I mean, straight from the door. Now, I mean, where the economy is falling apart. Now, I mean, prices is right, food prices going through the ceiling. Now, I mean, you would think that the people would be able to come and bring their empty bags and get food from the places of worship. But no. Now, I mean, we don't have the unity and the coordination and the Islamic government. The message teaches us, how does a general provide for his army? With the New World Treasury of Islam. We don't have a national treasury. You see, we don't have the infrastructure and the institutions to grow what our people eat, and to sow what our people wear, and to build where our people dwell, and to defend what our people have. So we talk nation building all day. We can talk unity locally, nationally, and internationally all day, but it really starts with the individual. We have to learn to do for self. We have to use that problem book, point number 13. Master Muhammad says, set yourself in heaven at once with peace of mind and contentment, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. Too many believers do not have peace of mind and contentment. They are stressed out, depressed. They don't have money. They're in debt. They got credit card debt. They can't pay the rent. They can't pay the mortgage. They can't pay car notes. They can't pay the electric bill, the phone bill, the medical bill, the food bills. You see? You know, so instead of having heaven through Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they suffer hell because they have the grafted teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And this is why we have to remember these plain teachings, this stuff that you may be like, I already know that. I read that before. You read this before? Go read it again. After you read it again, read it again. And after you read it 3 times, put it into practice. You see, you can't derive benefit from it if you don't use the mathematical theology. It's a way of thinking that we're blessed with. We have to ask ourselves, what would Elijah do? What would the messenger do? You see? What would a law person do? Like, what is the messenger's message in this age of mess? When I say that, I'm speaking as a Godologist. I'm teaching you the study of God. I'm trying to get you to be a Godologist. I want you to study the Godology of the life-giving teachers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because it's going to teach you how to answer your own prayers. You see, you want me to answer prayer. I'm like, okay, I got about 46 brothers and sisters over here on the phone that want me to answer theirs. So I got to do the work of about 117 people in like 16 different cities. I got to help about 80 different brothers and sisters in prisons all around the United States. It's like just too much of a burden. Y'all burning me out. I mean, I'm struggling and doing the best I can, but that's the wrong formula. That's not how a body of Christ operates. The teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the heart got to do its job. The brain got to do its job. The eyes got, the foot soldiers got to do that. The hands got to do that job. You see, the liver got to do its job. You know what I mean? You can't have the liver tasting the food and the tongue trying to filter the food. It's like, yo, it's an imbalance in the body. It produces cancer and chaos, and the century we getting diarrhea. We're just throwing up all over the place. You see, not because the food ain't good. It's just that you can't eat watermelon. Then you want to eat some garlic. Then you want to eat some stone ground wheat toast. Then you want to eat a bowl of navy bean soup. It's like, yo, it's not that the food ain't good. You just eating too much. You know what I'm saying? You just going around. Nah, you know what I mean? You be like, I ate bean pie. You're drinking Akbar juice. You're gonna throw all that stuff up. Your body can't handle that. Know what I mean? Get to 1 meal a day. Spiritually speaking, eat the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as he taught it. Pick up your lessons and study your lessons. Your lessons are your blessings. You get that wisdom in your head, you'll have money in your pocket. You see? When you take and understand how to do for self, you'll be able to pay your bills. You see? Because you're using the mathematical theology of God. I mean, you're using the life-giving teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which produces peace of mind and contentment, money, good homes, and friendships, and all walks of life, good health, happiness, inner peace, calmness, tranquility, sakeen. You see, you'll have that from understanding where you're at in the struggle for peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. And that comes from a basic principle. What would the messenger say? What would the messenger do? And what I mean by that in Guyology, the science is like this. I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation. Say you're, somebody asked you about marriage, or somebody asked you about pork, or somebody asked you about money, or somebody asked you about defense, or somebody asked you about voting, or somebody asked you about war, or somebody asked you about Israel, or somebody asked you about pollution. Your brain should automatically process that question by linking it. What did Allah and His Messenger teach us on this subject? So your brain will automatically be like, okay, I'm going to Bible, Quran, Message of the Black Man, my lessons, how to live, Outsiders Arrive, Fall of America, Muhammad Speaks. You know, it'll give you a foundation. So you'd be like, oh, okay. The first thing out my mouth, well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us in Message to the Black Man in America in 1965. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. And what about global warming? Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us in the Fall of America, 1972, you know, about pollution, about what makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. He teaches us in Lost Found Miles and Less Not. Master Muhammad taught us in 99 Actual Facts The devil contaminates 3 cubic feet of air every hour. He taught us in the problem book that we breathe 3 cubic feet. So you'll know the science of whatever question anyone on this planet could come up with. You'll have a foundation. Not that you'll be an expert in any particular field. Not that you'll have every degree, but you'll have your foundation. You'll have that alimi. You'll have that knowledge. You study harder, you'll get that hakimi, you get that wisdom. You study harder, you get that alifi, you get the understanding. You get the experience by living that stuff. And then the repetition comes the self-discipline. So it'll become easy for you to teach the life-giving teachings of Elijah Muhammad. And you'll be confident in your worldview, because you're saying, like, I'm not saying my worldview is the only one. Everybody has a worldview. But if you want to know about my worldview, I believe in the life-giving teachings of Elijah Muhammad. I believe that the Lord God came to the person of Master Muhammad and taught a black man in our midst, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just as Jews believe that Yahweh taught Moses to teach his enslaved people, or the Father taught Jesus to teach his oppressed people, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Muhammad to teach his oppressed and lost people in Arabia. Now, I mean, it's the same thing, the same basic principles. Now, I mean, and you know, we believe as the messenger believes, and the messenger believes as the law believes. Now, the proof is in the pudding, spiritually speaking, meaning that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, using the teachings of Master Fard Muhammad, look what he did with our people. He elevated us mentally. He mentally resurrected the mentally dead. And from Master Fard Muhammad came different students, talibs, or ministers, wazirs, one of which was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And from these other ministers and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came these other disciples. Minister Louis Farrakhan, Silas Muhammad, Jeremiah Shabazz, Minister Levi Kareem, Father-in-Law, Clarence 13X, countless others, Pan-Africans. Before the 1958 Bandung Conference in Africa, many of those young African leaders sat down with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Many of them African leaders met the Honorable Elijah. They rolled the red carpet out for him in Egypt. I mean, in Mecca. Now, I mean, you know, they sat down and listened to what Allah revealed to him, and they didn't all believe as he believed, but they respected his belief. They seen the wisdom, and they took his principles and used it for the liberation of their people. It's 2024. The struggle continues. Peace, family. Remember, only the messenger's message will guide us through this age of mess. Salam Allah.